Good afternoon, Boston Health. May I help you?
Yes, I got a question for employees. Are they supposed to identify themselves if they're employees that work for Boston Public Health Commission?
It depends on what their job is, but most likely they're supposed to.
Okay, so there's an incident on Atkinson and Braston Street, and there's a Boston Public, I guess he's a Health Commission police officer.
Yeah, public safety, yes.
So he's in uniform. I did not see any badge, any identification on. He had a yellow vest covering his jacket. And he was very rude and obnoxious. So I want to make a complaint against him, but he refused to identify himself.
Well, let me get you over to public safety. 1 second.
And there's also an employee that was.
Campus police line is being recorded.
Yes, is it your policy that police officers must identify themselves that work for Boston Public Health Commission?
Excuse me?
Is it a policy that the police officers must identify themselves when asked if they work for the Boston Public Health Commission?
Wow, what time happened?
There's an officer that works for your department that was very rude, and I want to make a complaint against him, but he wouldn't identify himself.
Where was this at?
Right on Atkinson Street and Braston Street this morning around 7 o'clock.
7 a.m. 7 a.m. in the morning?
That's correct.
All right. What was the officer look like?
He's a black male. He had a yellow vest on covering his jacket, and he wouldn't identify himself, so I don't have his name.
Okay. So what are you complaining about, sir?
Well, I was recording like I normally do, and he made some smart remarks about something, and I said, "Why don't you help us clean up this area if you're so concerned?" And he said, "Why don't you?" And I said, "Well, excuse me, so can you identify yourself since you're being rude about it?" And he wouldn't not identify himself.
Okay. Well, we'll voice a complaint about you, sir. But you have the right to film.
I know, but he told me I didn't.
The response is just to let you know. You know, police officers are not supposed to clean up the area. That's the city of Boston, and that department is the Department of Public Works. And if you have any complaints about the conditions of the area, you're supposed to call the mayor's hotline and make those complaints. If you have a complaint about the policing problem or whatever, that's great. But the officers are not required to say, "Hey, why don't you clean this up?"
Right.
You know. We have a call called Public Works. Do you live in the city of Boston, sir?
Yes, I do. Yep.
Okay, so they have, with the street cleaning people and people who clean that area are called the Public Works Department. And that department is actually the department that actually cleans up the streets, cleans up this area. That area was allowed by the city to the state people to actually have that in that area. So if you have a complaint about the amount of people and the incidents that happen, that goes back to our bosses and officers only following directions of the superior. He's not able to make those decisions, able to arrest anybody, able to make those things. But I'm just giving you that fallback so you can understand what position, when you ask the officer to that specific position, he's not able to make that stuff happen because it's beyond his pay grade. But I'll take your name and number so I can have my chief call you back.
Sure, my name is Nezer Porter, spelled Nezer. Last name Porter, Porter. Phone number 617-710-1928.
Okay. All right. I'll call into my deputy, and then they'll register the complaint. But just so you know what the situation is, the officers can't clean up the area. That is responsibility of public works department. The same people who clean up your street, and that's scheduled by the city of Boston. So, if you want to use your journalism, sir, I would ask you to actually go to those specific people that are in charge of our, all the different departments in the city, and relay that and ask them, hey, what's going on? Why that's where we need the thing, people direct things at the police departments from what happened in Minnesota, but the actual people who control police officers and stuff are actually the city who hires them, who trains them. They don't grow on trees. So I'm just letting you know that that's the thing. But I will definitely, Mr. Porter, give you a name to my superiors so they can get back to you and you can actually formal register your complaint, sir.
Well, no, you talk to the right person. I will take that avenue. I will talk to the city. I will call the mayor. I will call the public works.
Those are the people that actually make those kind of decisions, sir. We only are allowed to delegate that area and actually tell people to get out the street or the thing, but we can't like go in there and misperception that we can actually do anything in terms of thing unless somebody's getting beat up, attacked, in that area.
Right.
But they are just on the bottom level. The control is up top, and the decisions can be made on that level. We are just following the directions of the people who actually up top. But I apologize for if you had a rude or anything from the officers. I mean, it was a very stressful situation this morning, so I apologize on behalf of them. But I'll have my chief give you back and talk to you about it.
I just want them to understand that when a person asks them to identify themselves, they're supposed to identify themselves.
Right.
If they don't do that, then technically they have no authority at all because anybody could put a uniform on and say something.
Right.
Most police officers that I know, they usually identify themselves. They usually give them at least a badge number or something.
Right.
And what I'm about transparency and accountability, and I want everybody to be treated fairly and all the other good stuff. There's another employee that works for the Public Health Commission. I'm gonna have to call her office and complain about her too because she was very rude as well.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll make sure that make sure that this is a thing, and you want to make a complaint, and I'll delegate it to my lieutenants and above people above me. So, I mean, that's all I can do. But like I said, dealing with this whole situation, the whole situation is stressful, sir. So
I understand. Trust me.
Dealing down there, and that area is very, very high tense. So if you get some resistance when you're being in that area, please understand that the area is very, and obviously it comes with the job, but it's extremely arid because we're dealing with so much down there in that Pacific environment. So if you get some employees down there, we have to deal with it from the employees because they're stressful. They're stressed out too about the situation and the whole obligation of the people down there dealing with the different people with afflictions and problems.
I agree.
We try to service them, and it's very stressful. But again, rules are rules, and they're supposed to follow it. I understand.
All right. I'll be doing the follow up, and I'm looking forward.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna check this thing in, and I'll make sure that it gets to you, and I'll pass it along. So let me confirm it. Your name is Neza Porter, and your telephone number is 617-710-1928. Correct?
That is correct, sir.
All right, sir. So I'll make sure that happens, and I'll send that off right now.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I always got to do follow-ups now. It's a point now where you got to start holding your public officials accountable. I was down on Atkinson Street earlier, doing what I normally do, just record in public. There was a sergeant that said you cannot record a crime scene, and she worked for public health. And I told her, like, I'm on the public sidewalk. So after I told her I knew the law, then she kind of been quiet. But there's another gentleman which would not identify himself. He was kind of rude about it. So, I had to, kind of put him in his place. Until next time, guys. Nez Porter. Catch you on the next one.